F.A. Checky, the next episode in line from my last one where we were working on the desert scene, canyon scene, what have you. It's a fantasy surreal piece. It's just not to the elements that are way out there. We're just in the landscape phase. But again, thank you and welcome. Welcome to the Art of F.A. Checky on FATV. I got this cool light here and I'm loving it. It's like, it's providing light and it's doing this cool effect. And I'm just like, why not? Why not? It adds something to the art of the video itself. And my son's here today. It's just us two. I don't know if he's going to come in here. He probably will. Matthew, you've probably seen him on the videos. But I just want to thank you all again for all the support. We're over 800 subscribers. Our views are getting up there. Some of the videos exceeding 5,000 and 6,000 views. We're getting close to monetization. So thank you for watching and subscribing, supporting me. But I do need everybody's likes. I need your subscriptions. Please subscribe. And please follow the channel and comment, give us feedback, share, let people know about it, because 50% of all the money we raise off the videos, ads and product, whatever we sell, 50% of the proceeds are going to go to good charities like the arts, the elephants, like in the elephants video, and other good causes. So we really do need your help, and I really hope you support me and support the channel and support my family in this, because we really want to make this work. We really want to give back. And unlike a lot of other YouTube channels, I'm not going to be driving around in the Lamborghini. I'm not going to be bling in it. You know, I want to give back to the community, to the art community in particular, the arts, and elephants and innocent animals that are being slaughtered every day, and their wildlife and their environment being destroyed. And so this is not political. This is about saving our planet. I don't even know why this would be considered political. These are innocent creatures, whether you're a believer in a higher power or not. They are beautiful creatures that deserve protection because they're part of our planet, and they deserve what we deserve, the same thing. We should put them at a higher status because we're all part of the circle of life, so to speak. So the animal cause, obviously the arts. I mean, I'm an artist, so of course I support the arts. But before we get started, I was going to light the Bob Ross candle, talk a little bit about him while I paint, talk a little bit about this kitsch thing in the Bob Ross. He's going to be in a museum exhibit, which I think is really cool. While I don't want to be a Bob Ross, I do look up to him for having inspired me to paint and be an artist, and he taught me the basics. But I just want to talk a little bit about him, but first we're going to light his candle. Okay, we'll be right back. Definitely would be remiss not to do this like I do every episode, because it is an important thing to me. And I just dropped the guy on the floor. Oh my God, where is he? Ah, where is he? Okay. Ah, there he is, upside down. Put him right back there. Sorry, Bob. The little shrine I have here to a very important man in my life, important artist. And while I don't necessarily see him as one of the greatest conceptual artists or pioneer in the art forms that are out there, I see him as an inspiration. He taught me and many other people how to do oil painting. He taught us the art of oil painting, but how to do art, how to do a style of art that you can continue to learn more. He taught basic stuff that you can make paintings like him or do what you want to do and do your own art. But he teaches a lot of good things, and he inspired me, and he deserves this upcoming museum exhibit. A lot of people say he's kitsch or lowbrow, poor taste type artist because he's so pedestrian or so much like everybody else who paints like him, and so he's not really considered high up in the art world. But now he's getting some recognition as a man who taught people, an excellent teacher, and a pioneer in inspiring people to become artists, because so many new artists came about because of his inspiration and teaching. And so that's why I look to him as just a man that, maybe in the art world, all these, art experts and gurus and collectors don't necessarily see him as a person of great importance in art. But, why does every artist have to be $1 billion asset artist. You know, I mean, as far as adding up all their works, exceeding $1 billion or more in value. He is dead. His artwork is going up in value. So may he rest in peace and be remembered as a man who inspired a lot of people like myself. So, little tribute here to Bob Ross, and seriously, a guy that definitely deserves a huge honor from me and other people. I don't want to paint like Bob Ross. Some of my earlier stuff, I kind of copied how he did his style because I was just learning still. It's been 25 years since I've done my Bob Ross stuff back when I was a kid, you know, and I had to get back into it. I'm like, okay, I got to get back into the exercises of painting and get my painting mojo going and learn the basics all over again. So, you know, I came back to him, and I don't watch his videos much anymore, but I do. I read a lot about him and his life, his service to our country as a member of the armed services, in his life in Alaska, where he emerged as a painter, selling his painting, then eventually on PBS, where he became a huge success there as a icon of American art, teaching people to paint and the joy of painting. That's a show that he had, and as a kid, and many others as children watched him, and they still watch him today because he's just so fun to watch. He's a beautiful man, and so I paid tribute to him there, and wanted to do that in the first 5 minutes of this. So we're going to move on, start painting, just like the man would want us to be doing, and he said to always, you know, do what you want to do. You know, don't have to copy him. And I say the same thing at the end of my episodes. I'm like, I always say, be the artist you were born to be. Be the artist you were born to be, which is, don't copy. When you're learning, copy. That's fine. But do what you want to do. Then you start doing stuff where, you know, I might study other paintings. I start doing stuff like this, and I don't think that's like Bob Ross. It's my own thing. It was in my head. It was my vision of something I wanted to do that felt like a video game. I wanted something to feel like a you'd see it in a video game. You know, that's what I wanted to do on this painting. That was my vision. I'm like, this is such a huge part of our world that we live in, of electronics and technology. And I'm like, well, I want something to look like it's in a game. It's a scene that's about to unfold in the game, you know. And those are the characters running around. So, you know, and then you do, you know, whatever else you want to do. I pulled this from sci-fi. I love, you know, Stanley Kubrick. And this is like a primordial scene, like the beginning of origins of mankind, and there's the obelisk, and it has a very important meaning, but it's a tribute to that director. So here I'm at my next series in kind of surreal sci-fi fantasy, and I wanted to do this crazy sky. This was like really powerful, enigmatic scene. And then you see all these paintings up here, other things I've done where I'm doing different things, and you know, I really like Kevin Hill, so I did something that I felt like a little bit like Kevin Hill, but my own way of doing it. I did something that's just me. This is how I paint. I found a beautiful ship I wanted to paint. I looked at all these different ships. I'm like, no, this is the most beautiful ship I can find, and I'm going to paint it, and I want to do something kind of like this, and it photographs so well with the way I did it. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Aivazovsky, a famous Russian artist. I took an element, which was the basics of this seascape, this ocean scene. I took a lot from one of his paintings, but I brought it to modern times. So you can see the ship in the background sinking, and it's supposed to be now as opposed to then. This piece here was one of my earlier pieces done a few years ago, where I just wanted to do another primordial-like scene, this Genesis rising. I wanted something that felt like the beginning of life on Earth, when things started growing and life started teeming all over, and you don't see much trees or anything because it's just like little plants growing, but mainly canyons and mountains. And so we here come back again to something like that, except different sky, everything very different about it. And this is where we're going to continue. We're about 10 minutes, 8 minutes into this video. We got to move on and start painting. All right. Okay, so the sky is pretty much done, and I'm just kind of going into this little filbert brush here, like I pointed out in other videos. It's just a little thin one here, not one of the bigger ones. So I have some details I want to do. I have a bigger, thicker one right here. And I got some white on here, got some Naples yellow, I got some cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, I think Indian yellow, just some, let's see, basic orange yellow. I really love this one of those colors. It's called
Shut up and start
cadmium
painting already.
scarlet, just super bright orange. Some red on here. It's just some cadmium red, titanium white, and some of my old paint that's clearly it's all dry now, but it has a little bubble on it, is what I call it. So I got to clean off the brush a little bit, which I got my odorless mineral spirits. You're going to want to keep a healthy portion of that on you. I got my cool strobe light going here. I don't know what it's doing over here, but this is the light to be most concerned with. It's allowing me to paint, and it's good for my review of what I'm painting in that I can see better what needs to be done when I have a good light. And I like to use these kind of mid-grade soft lights, not too bright, but some bright enough. So I'm taking the end of this little filbert brush, and the filberts, you know, that's what they say on there. And this is a Winton brush. You can get it like Michael's or any other art store. But anyway, lots of local art stores. You can support your local art stores too, but you should. Small businesses, but they don't always have the best prices. That's part of the problem. I guess I'm a value seeker, you know. But anyways, I'm just tapping with the filbert brush to get some of these cloud effects in here, just the corner, just tapping. And then I'm going to smooth it over with a 2-inch or 3, the 2-inch brush, like, you know, the big one like Bob Ross always uses on his skies. So I want to give you a little art instruction. When you're doing clouds, you have to form the elements of light, which is reflecting off of the moisture in the air. It's in that gaseous form. It's a gas. Just keep in mind it's a gas. And if I don't form this right, I'm going to get like, you know, kind of like what I have right here. So what you can do, if you want, you can just take and clean it up a little bit with like a fan brush and pull in maybe some of the color underneath, which I have some of this orange, and it's shadowed a little bit with this Indian yellow underneath, okay? I'm just creating like a shadow, but I don't want too dark a shadow because the darker shadows are all up here. But that's reflecting on the bottom of that cloud right there, so I'm bringing a little bit of that in there, okay? Again, you can take your 2-inch brush and then kind of go over it, kind of just smooth it out. And if you didn't quite get what you wanted right there, that's okay. You can go back into a different clean brush. You can also use little round brushes like that. My bristles are quite rough on this one, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. So just see if it's working. You can use the tapping effect again to get these reflections that you want. Okay, that one, you know, if it doesn't work, move. I have lots of different brushes. Just move on to something else. Okay. What I think I'll use here in this is a little chisel brush like that. Okay. They use them for acrylics, but it works for oils too. I don't think it matters. But it has a little like edge on it that I can tap off of. Okay. Tap. Just give it little taps. Load a little bit of paint, but just enough to kind of form these little effects in the clouds. Okay. And like I said, what I'm doing, I just want to make some more cumulonimbus or whatever they are. I have to look up all the proper names. But these are the ones that I think need a little bit more highlighting in the white. That you'll see it come out as we put in this yellow underneath it, which is sort of a shadow in there. Okay? So we're just kind of making little cloud half circle movements, I guess, little mini half circles. Or you can tap a little bit too and see what it does. Okay, got a little more highlight right there, as you might be able to see it right in here. Okay, and don't go too thick, but thick enough. Okay, and that's what I was saying. I need to keep a little bit of that yellow underneath just to make it stand out as a shadow underneath the cloud. And right here we have quite a bit of accumulation of cloud cover, so we're just trying to bring it in with the light. Okay, with a lot of light over there, and then we'll smooth it out, and we'll be done with the clouds. Okay, I've done enough up here where there might be a few spots we can maybe just kind of highlight a little bit. We don't want to do too much. Notice a little spot in here that needs a little bit more highlight, and however you want to bring out whatever part of the clouds that you feel needs a little bit more to it, okay? But as you can see here, I'm just putting in a different cloud formation, so it's not all fluffy clouds, like I say, feathery clouds. I want more than just feathery clouds in this, okay? Put a little bit more in here. But really the focus is down here, okay? If I see a spot, I'll just highlight it up, okay? Because I want to move on to this canyon scene down here. In the next episode, we'll start working on the more, I guess we'll call it the fantasy elements, okay? Which is, fantasy could be a lot of different things. It could be something in the pop culture, something you created yourself. I think I'm going to try to create something my own on this one. Last one I pulled from Stanley Kubrick. So let's do something different. Got to do something different. Okay? And I'm just kind of like I said, I'm just building in this scene in here, this part of the scene, just to kind of flavor it. It gives flavor, so that it's not all the same type of clouds. And then you can go underneath and kind of smooth it out. Now, if you want to like go into like a different color, some of this is not completely dried up. I might pull in a little bit of gray and blue, just a tiny bit, onto the brush. I have some that didn't completely dry up. And what I'm doing is just going underneath and just pulling out a little bit of the color that already on the canvas and lightening it quite a bit. It's going to be very light because I don't want to go too dark down there. I need to go very light. And that's still, right there I can tell you it's not light enough. Wipe off the brush because I probably have some of that dark paint on there. And just go back into the canvas and work it in, okay? Now where it's too dark right there like that, it's okay. What we'll do is just go back into some white and just kind of blend it in a little bit so that we're not overdoing it, okay? Put a little bit more in here, maybe a little bit more on this side, just to kind of show where things are shadowing. These clouds, all right? Bring it a little bit back into here, blend it, and make sure the edge right there that I kept is still intact. Now then, like I said, you can just take your 2-inch brush, and I'm really gonna work this right here. I really need a fade back here. So what I think I'm gonna do after I blend this, just lightly, I'm just very lightly blending, barely touching the canvas, not pushing hard, is just building up this little area a little bit more. Kind of go underneath here a little bit, make sure that's blended. Wherever I had, place some highlights. Just kind of blending those through. A lot of this is still dry, which is all good. Okay, so, and especially if you see a little bit too much, you can scrub it a little bit, tap it, pull it. It's pliable on the more dry. This highlight here needs to definitely be fluffed out a little bit. I'm just kind of working out some areas. I just want to bring in some light. And again, right here. And what you can do, I'll take just the corner here, and just put a little bit of paint on the edge of the 2-inch brush. I'm going to tap in a little bit light. You see that light coming through? See that? It also works too to get you some more less defined. And I can even go over there a little bit too. Okay, I don't want to do too much. Just a little taps in there. Got some on there. And I wanted to just kind of put in a little bit there. I have another side of the brush which is definitely not as wet, but it is quite bright. My brush, you can see, is quite white, and it's okay because a lot of this I want to maintain this mist. This bottom area is very misted but lit. It's lit. Okay, and I probably have to clean the brush after I apply this because I'm going to put a lot more right there where I really want it to hit. Okay, and if I get a little bit on the land bridge here, it's okay. Don't worry about getting stuff on your acrylic. This is all acrylics. Very, very dry. The driest probably on here. You can just take your finger and just rub it off if it's bothering you at that point in time. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Okay. But as I'm just kind of putting in these little highlights here, just want to finish up on what I was saying earlier about Bob Ross, and he's been looked at as a lowbrow or kitsch, Kitsch, I think, artist. And I have to be honest, I love Bob Ross, but he is not, and I'll be controversial to some extent, he is not a pioneer in what he did in terms of the subject matter. The subject matter Bob Ross is by no means pioneering. And there's two things. It's the subject matter. What is it that you're painting? The subject matter. And then there is the technique. In some ways, he's a pioneer of techniques that he made much more simple to teach people how to learn how to paint, or just teach people how to paint. Okay, and while some may say, well, those are very watered down techniques you learn in art school, he was teaching on TV. I'm sure he would have used YouTube to do some stuff if he was still alive. It's just because it's another television channel in the end, free. Anybody can go on YouTube, it's free to watch, which is so nice. And some artists, they don't want to have exposure to their techniques, perhaps, I don't know. Some artists do. And some artists just want exposure to themselves, and I'm kind of doing a combination. I want exposure for my art. Excuse me, and I want exposure for some of the things I do. Although I don't show everything I do. I can't make that many episodes and show everything I've done and how I do it. I don't have time. I don't have a full-time gig like Bob Ross, painting and doing his show on PBS like he did. But I have time to do what I do, and I enjoy doing it like him. And he enjoyed doing it. He donated a lot of his paintings. He gave a lot to charities, painted 3 per episode, I believe. Maybe a 4th for the episodes, I'm not sure. But in any event, he did something special. And he inspired many people to paint, but he did something else. He left a lasting legacy of this art schools. And a lot of people that do paint like him. But maybe that's all you want to do. It's like, I'm not looking to be a famous artist or, get into the world of museums and highbrow. I just want to learn to paint and have fun and make it a hobby, and that's great. Why not? I'm not necessarily as invested in inspiring people to paint. I'm just happy if I do. I'm definitely happy if I can inspire some people to want to paint. And I know that might sound kind of crazy, like what artist wouldn't want to inspire people to do art? Well, I'm just saying that's a benefit to me. That's like one of the things I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. That when I see people like, yeah, I want to paint because you, Frank, F.A. Checky inspired me. I'll be like, awesome. I love that. You can also use your finger sometimes if you need to just get rid of something that's too sharp. But I'm kind of digressing a tad. The whole talk about Bob Ross and why I think he's an amazing person is because he inspired a lot of people to paint. A lot. Maybe millions. I don't know. Maybe millions all around the world. He's viewed all around the world. Okay? He's known around the world. So he's famous. I mean, there's no doubt. And yeah, his paintings only fetch, 18 to 32,000 or something like that. After he died, I think they sell for around, the most expensive I heard of is somewhere in the 30,000 to 40,000 range. Maybe more, some of them, I don't know. It's average price. But that doesn't matter. His legacy is not necessarily just the paintings. It was the programming. and he was a person. He's a pop culture icon. His afro is known everywhere. His schooling of what he does is known everywhere pretty much. And before I start talking about Bob Ross again, just wipe off your 2-inch brush. Make sure it's really clean. Go back over these very thick spots you laid in, just real light. Like Bob Ross would say, what did he say? Light brush strokes, barely touching the canvas. 2 hairs and some air. I think that's what he would say. But I like that. That's the thing. The things that he would say, and it's just like, Bob, that makes sense. Not to touch the canvas too much with this big old brush, which you just want to pound the crap out of it sometimes, because you try and do something. It's like no. Finesse it. Finesse it. If you go too hard with this, definitely you're gonna lose what you wanted on certain areas. And like right here, I think I overcasted my paint without the white, where we see this glow coming through. There's a sun back there somewhere. You can go back in your filbert, wherever you want to lay in a few more details like this. Okay, just tap it on some paint. Just tap it on. Tap it on. Tap. Just tap. And when he talked like that, Bob Ross, like a kind of my stupid imitation of him, I do it with the most sincere gratitude and appreciation. I never would knock Bob Ross. I mean, he's such an awesome man. From his service to this country to everything else about him. We lost him too young. Cancer, I believe, in his 50s, late 50s. He might have been 56 or 57. I gotta look that up. Hey, George, can you look up that for me? Oh yeah, I don't have a staff, just me. You can look it up yourself on Google, but I know he's in his 50s. He wasn't quite 60 years old. And why is that important to me? Or anyone else, is that we lost an artist, if you're in the art world, younger than I think he should have died. I don't know why he got cancer or what the circumstances were at the end of his life, but, it saddens me. Whenever you lose someone too early, it's sad, Maybe some of you lost somebody, and that can show up in your art. And in some ways, I think a lot of my feelings are imbued in my art. And so they should be. That's what art is about, expression in a lot of ways. And not just the joy of painting, but the expression, which is why painting mountains and happy trees is great for therapy or to learn. And if that's what you love to do, just do it, okay? I'm not saying not to do that, but I can't just paint happy trees forever. I can't just paint what Bob Ross painted for very long. Did it for about a year. After I got back into it, I'm like, okay, this feels like my Bob Ross tutorials are good. Move on. I'll do my own thing. Whether it's good or bad, I don't care. I'll leave it up to the art world to decide. The art world and you all will decide if it's good or bad. I don't care. I'm gonna do my own thing. Gosh darn it. And if you don't like it, then the hell with you. I'm just joking. I'm messing around. If you don't like it, then just say so. Comment on the video. Be like, that looks like crap, Frank. F.A. But I'm starting to get haters now. Believe it or not. And I think it's freaking awesome. I think it's hilarious. I'm like, if I'm getting haters, I'm going somewhere. I won't say what this guy called me, but for whatever reason, he wanted to call me a really bad name. I'm like, okay. I'll just block you. Alrighty. Did need a little break there. It also helps me in the process here if you're into editing and things like that, just to kind of see where things are at. We've already laid in this misty, lit up, cloudy parts in here. You can kind of see, and we kind of want that illusion over this background of this mist, this deserty scene. I got some oranges, and it's going to be actually quite darker on this side, okay, than it would be on the top in some, unless we're behind something, okay. I need to maintain some lightness in here, and you'll see why, because we need this misty element to feed into each layer, so to speak. And so I don't want to put too much of this orange on here, but I am going to kind of highlight in here with a little bit of orange on this rock in here, using this chisel brush. And I kind of want to still maintain some of this element of haze, I guess we'll call it. We are in a desert, and we're going to have some highlights that are orange, in my opinion. I'm not looking at any pictures. This is just, I looked at a lot beforehand, and I'm like, okay, that's all I need. That's what I need to look at. And I'm going to create my vision here based on, some references, but I'm not staring at something in particular. When I want to create my own thing, I'm going to go off some memories of just why a desert looks the way a desert does. And what kind of highlights I can put in here. So naturally I want a little bit of this orange in there where the sun is really hitting. Maybe in the background it's just a little bit more orange. It's just it's not cadmium orange. This is just an orange yellow, lighter value orange. And so I'm just kind of putting a little bit of that in there wherever the sun should dance, so to speak. A light dances a little bit. And then it reflects and it refracts and it absorbs into certain things, and it does its beautiful waltz in time and space. Light does its beautiful waltz both in time and in space, and travels at a constant speed per Einstein's saying the only constant we can count on in the universe is the speed of light. Okay, that's true. Does that matter in painting so much? Yeah, sure it does. You're looking at something that's traveling your eyes at the speed of light. And there's principles of light and three-dimensionality. What if we came up with fourth-dimensional painting? Would have. Gotta put a little. We have to start to define this ridge in here. I'm gonna put a little color in here. I'll darken it as I go where I think I need it. Using a little bit of orange and yellows, Indian yellow. Defining a little bit more with the Indian yellow. I just need to get some color in here. Like I said, this should be lighter really up here. And then where I want to break up the color, I got this raw sienna, and I'm going to darken it with some red. Add some yellow ochre to it. But whereas it's still quite dark over there, I'm going to add some grays in there too with the yellows. Just getting this grayish, yellowish, a little bit of red tint until I feel like I got the right value. If you don't think you have the right value, just add a little bit of white on it, test it out. But like I said, this is quite a bit darker over here, as it should be when you're doing landscapes where the shadows reign. But we have some light shining here in the distance as well. I'm just using this chisel brush just to kind of etch in this darkness, leaving in some of the haze, and much lighter down there, okay? Much lighter. Much lighter. As I repeat myself, much lighter. Leave it light. And You'll see why. You still got much haze reflecting the mist in this landscape. It's still a landscape at this point. Just a standard landscape painting. Until fantasy elements come in and change it up. And while I call it fantasy surreal, I may, I don't know. I might consider it something different. Use some different values of contrast in here by darkening your brush. Maybe bring a little more of that red. Okay, we're getting a little bit closer here. And so let it be known that by darkness, wow, something just got thrown at me. Matthew? That or there's a poltergeist in here. Maybe not. A darker color value here. Shadow it in somewhat here as well. And let it come in naturally as we can. And just start working some values into the shadow regions. And then we'll just adjust as we go. Okay, it's that simple. It's a process of layers. Okay, yeah, I paint as I go. I take a step back, I look. Might go back to my references and say, okay, does that look right or not? Okay, and I'll just decide where I need to go dark.
They just went to church.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Are you filming?
Yeah. Matthew stepping in here. My son.
I want to show
He's
you
my new
something.
crew member. What, bud?
I want to show you something.
What?
The Lego set I got. You know how in Thor and
Mhm.
Groot escaped the escape pod of the ship?
Yeah.
I got that Lego set.
Oh, you
know the
did?
big ship I got?
Yeah.
That both of the Lego sets attached. The escape pod attaches to it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. When I'm done with this, I'll come over and take a look.
Can I stay inside?
You can watch. You can hang out in here. I'm just kind of showing people like how we're doing some shadow effects and put where we need to
So
maybe.
you're teaching people how to paint pretty much.
Kind of. Just showing him how I'm doing this painting. So I'm gonna put a little bit more shadow there, and then add in some orange just to kind of see what my value. Because this thing's kind of tucked right there. This thing's a little bit out of focus with this brighter light there, so I think that has to go a little darker up top. And but keep a little bit of this merge in here, this fade. Okay, and I think over here, like I said, this has to be quite a bit darker. Over there.
It doesn't turn off and back on.
No, it's okay. Don't mess with it right now because it's working it's doing something. You can mix in like some other yellows. Don't.
I'm holding.
I know, but yeah, don't move it though because it's already positioned. He's my camera crew, but he's still learning. Matthew, I just added him on as my camera crew and my sound. Go get your boom mic. You need to get you a boom mic, right?
Where's my GoPro?
It's in the Matthew got him a little GoPro for his own videos. He's gonna start making some
I stopped.
stop animation or
I'm
something.
not gonna do that anymore. I'm just gonna
Okay. That's okay.
film family trips.
All right. Well, he's got his own camera now. This cool little red
Can I
camera.
show them?
Yeah. This cool. Yeah, they can see it.
Or is it upside down?
I don't know.
Like
It
this?
doesn't matter. If you can see it in there, they can see it. These are pretty inexpensive little cameras that you can get. They're not real GoPros. It's just like a GoPro, though. It's just like a GoPro, though.
How do you unlock it?
I'm not sure. I'll have to show you after we're done, Matthew. I'm concentrating on this at this moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we're gonna kind of put in a little bit of reds over here, I think, to maybe pull out a little bit.
What's measure?
Maybe add in a little reds
12 or 16.
into the shadow area here,
2
and likewise bring a little bit of that color there. Okay. And that's kind of what the process is gonna be like. Is just bringing in some shadows and highlights. Wherever I want to go real light, I have this nice Naples, light, bright Naples Yellow, okay. So maybe put a little few highlights in there like that. And then, you know, it's harder to do this type of painting when I'm broadcasting or not broadcasting. We're not live, but it's a lot harder to do when you're filming something. It really is, because I'm thinking about things I want to say. But the basic point here is that as I've created these regions closer to the light, I'm going to highlight some of those, low lights behind it, shadows even behind it further. Okay, and I think I'll just kind of end off around here. We'll show some more as we progress with this piece, but just the point is, like I said, some of these areas have to definitely be much lighter, like as we go up around here. Okay, we want to make a very bright indication of reflective light on this land bridge, so you can kind of see a little bit of that, because that value has to be very bright, and we'll be working that value in more and more. Maybe right here with this chisel brush, I can put a nice little bright mark in there. Don't have to be perfect, but it definitely has to be pronounced. And I can use more and more oil over that area to blend it as it goes that way. All right, my son has a cool camp he's going to tomorrow. I got to help him with that today. Not sure how much overall painting we'll get done today, but we'll have some fun while we can, right, Matthew?
Yeah. You have to pay me $9 every video when you start getting.
Oh, that's his paycheck. Okay.
$9.
He's a negotiator, Matthew is. Like I said, on this side of the rock,
Subscribers do we have?
we're almost 900 now.
What? Are you gonna do a celebrate for 1,000 subscribers?
Yes, we will. We haven't gotten there just yet.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. We'll have to do something, right?
Maybe you make 1,000 subscriber painting.
Yeah, the 1,000 subscriber painting. That'll be Grandma's doggy.
Why?
Because that's a special thing. I think in terms of doing things for family, do things they love.
Did dog die?
This might have been the one that died. I can't remember.
Zoe?
But we're going to paint a poodle.
Zoe's about to die.
I know, she's getting older. It's
How,
sad.
how long do poodles live?
Some of them live up to 15 years.
Zoe's
Something like that.
16.
Depends on the dog, Matthew. It really
Smaller
does.
the dog, more it lives, right?
Yeah. So we're going to put in some darkness here on this side of the rock bridge or the land bridge. That will darken this end of it because it's hitting the other side of the light. I mean, the view is reaching the other side. You might want to make this probably some of the darkest in here where it's definitely breaking up the light. And down here, though, as we progress towards where the land bridge connects, clearly we have some darkness in here.
Dad, I have a question.
Sure.
If your YouTube channel gets really high, will you start paying people to edit your videos?
If I have, because if I could ever get there, yes, of
Like
course.
1 million subscribers?
Yeah. I'm gonna put a little bit of underlighting here, right here. That'd be awesome. Because you know what we're doing in our videos before I end. I'm glad Matthew's here. He's gonna be like, oh, I didn't know that.
We're going to do Orleans. Wait, where are we going for our big trip this summer?
We're going to Pennsylvania.
And we're going to that, what lake place?
I can't remember where out there. Somewhere fun. Okay.
Are you going to film it?
Probably. We'll do a travel vlog. Why not?
That'll be our 1,000 subscribers special.
Sure. I'm gonna put a little bit of light here that will be amplified. A little bit with some yellows and some oranges.
Are you going to do anything that's not painting?
Yeah, we have some travel vlog. We got stuff what inspires my painting. I'm sure I'll see some stuff out there.
I want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah. Put a little highlight right in here, a little bit of highlight right in there.
Are you going to do an office tour?
Yeah, I've already done the office tour in here. Okay, so Matthew, as I was telling us earlier, or I was trying to explain, but Matthew keeps asking a million questions because he's 9, which is good. He's a curious boy. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. I know sometimes I act annoyed, but that's Dad's. My dad's thinking about 20 million things like mom. So kind of clean out some of this brush while I'm talking as I lay in more color here, which I think is going to be in the darker values zones. We're going to donate 50% of all ad revenue to good charity that help people. One of which will help. We could. Matthew wants to help the homeless. Matthew, that's a cause that
African American kids.
he wants to help, like the
I
NAA.
want to get an African American kid a phone.
There are NAA. NAACP charities.
I want to get them toys because they don't have that.
And then in Africa, we are doing the African elephants and the other Asian elephants as well.
Mommy wants to raise money for elephants.
Mommy, that's a big one for Mommy and me because we're gonna go to Thailand eventually and see.
Yeah, that could be one of our specials.
Yeah, we will do a travel vlog from Thailand because there won't be.
We're staying there for like a week, right?
Yeah.
We would do the first day, the second day, the third day. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So Matthew's explaining where we're going in a couple years to see the elephant.
Next summer we're going to Thailand, and Mommy found this beautiful resort. We're gonna have a 4-star, I think, hotel.
Yeah.
A pool in our hotel, like our own private pool. It's gonna be out in the ocean. Yep. I want to see an albino elephant really bad.
Yeah, there was one I saw on Facebook that I posted about the albino elephant.
I really want to see
super rare. I mean, that's something you don't see every day. I mean, that's...
No, every day.
Right.
Like every year.
Even on the internet, you don't see it every day.
If you search up albino elephants, there's barely ever pictures.
Right. So the point is, we're gonna be doing some travel vlogging
Mommy said
down
I
the
could
road.
feed the elephants.
Yeah. Matthew will be feeding some elephants.
Callie, I think, is going to be scared.
We'll be visiting the people.
The people there are extremely nice.
Yes, they are. They're very humble people out there.
Any Thailand watchers, you're very nice people.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for today. But yeah, we're going to be raising money for all these causes.
After next summer, I know what our big vacation
if I could ever talk, go ahead.
Can we go to Canada in 2 years?
Eventually, yeah, sure.
Because I want to see Canada.
Yeah.
I heard the people are really nice there.
They are.
And Nickelodeon Resorts.
Okay.
Doesn't your grandmother, your stepmother live there? Or
No, she lives in Massachusetts.
then who's the person who lives in the Dominican Republic who's in
That's her. That's where she was from.
Would she like to go?
I don't know, maybe.
Would she like us?
Probably.
I feel like Filipino people are one of the nicest people.
They're very nice. There's nice people all around the world, but yeah, certain cultures we notice from the way they're raised, the way that they are enculturated.
Filipino people aren't just. If you wear shoes in a Filipino's house, it's disrespectful.
And also Japan and other places too. You respect the fact that they keep a clean house and you take your shoes off. So Matthew, I need to talk for just a minute, so please don't interrupt, okay? Because we're going to end this off, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Because I want to end off this video by saying, like we were talking about, we want to be able to donate. We want to be able to share the money we make. There's, I guess, a thumb going up there. But while I can show some stuff today, I can't show everything, but I just want to end by saying thank you for watching. The more subscribers we get, the more close we get to more views translate into eventual monetization. 50% of the proceeds going to the homeless. Matthew loves that cause. I'm totally about helping them. Africa, underprivileged societies, helping them, the arts, the elephants, so many things we want to do, but we can't do it without you guys. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. So please subscribe, comment, give us feedback, share, let us know what you want to see. Likes, all the above.
Let's try to get 500 likes on this video.
Yeah, let's try to get 500 likes. Help us. All right. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you. I always say thank you because it's a big deal to me when I get an audience giving me some of your time. And be the artist you were born to be, or just enjoy doing art, enjoy watching art, enjoy appreciating art. But in the end, I hope I can provide something of value for you all to watch. And I will see you next time.